Welcome to another edition of Interview with a Friend. Today we have Patrick Bodman. Patrick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Clark. How are you doing?
Oh, I am just tickled to be alive. If I were any happier, I'd be a twin. Now, Patrick, let me ask you a couple questions today about yourself and your plans for the future and just general things about what's important to you and things like that. Patrick, where exactly, what's your earliest memory of meeting me?
When you came in for your interview at Bluesboro.
About how long ago was that?
Gosh, you got me 3 years ago?
Sounds about right. Around about then. I think it was in the summer or something like that.
Can't remember.
Yeah, it was a long time
You're
ago.
a punk then too.
Yeah, was I? Awesome. Well, what's going on right now in your life, man?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing?
Big goose egg.
Goose egg.
Yeah.
So,
hey, it's okay. 51 years old, get to start over. How many guys at my age get to do that?
well, it looks like you do, so that's all that really matters.
It seems like I start over every 5 years. Every 5 years I have to start from the beginning again.
Well, it's okay. You live, you learn, and it's only a failure if you didn't gain anything from it. So that's what they say.
Well, I've gained a lot.
Well, you've gained a lot. So
A lot of weight.
That's good. A lot of weight. Oh well. Well, what do you plan on doing for the next? Do you have like a 5-year plan, or what you plan on doing for the next 5 years, or?
5-year plan.
You have a 5 no plan?
You try to make plans, man. Something always throws you there. You can't plan anything. I can't anyway. That's just the way my life goes.
Yeah, man.
My plan, what I want to do is I want to have independence, make enough money to provide for my 2 boys and give them what they need, and watch them grow up strong and healthy and intelligent. I want to provide them with college education, make sure that they get the proper education that I wasn't allowed to get, and that they go on with their lives and live independently from me and their mother and aren't stuck at home counting on us to provide for them. That's my goal. That's what I want to do with my life. And I figure as a father, if I can provide that for my 2 kids, then I'm a success. And it doesn't matter what else I do in my life for me, because for me, I'm just a happy guy anyway. I mean, it doesn't matter what I do, where I go, or what kind of car I drive, or what kind of house I live in, or anything like that. I'm happy. I don't need a whole lot.
Right. Well, you're more or less. You're pretty self-content. You're more or less kind of living for your children.
Basically, yes.
Basically, yes. So, which is really admirable. That's great. That's awesome. That's it's a sign of an incredibly family-oriented person. So
well, that's also my 5-year plan, or my 10-year plan, my 15-year plan, my life plan.
Yeah.
My life plan is provide for other lives that are basically counting on me. I mean, my parents didn't do it for me. There were 5 of us, so each of us went on our separate ways, and none of us really shot up or did anything astounding with our lives. We're just pretty much laymen, and I want my kids to be more than that. I want my kids to shine. I want them to stand out. I want them to give something back and be noticed for it. I don't want them just to fall off to the side and be a bartender or a manager at a restaurant, or a street worker, or shoveling dirt, or building houses. I want them to build things. I want them to put things together. I want them to save lives. I want them to change lives. I want them to be creative. I want them to be artistic. I want them to be musically inclined. Whatever it takes, something that they enjoy doing that they can be good at. I want to promote it and be there for them, unlike my parents were for me.
It's been my philosophy that it's an unwritten law that with each generation we try to do better than our parents did, or fill in some gap that our parents left behind. And you're kind of a testament to that. There are some things that your parents didn't do, and you're trying to fill that gap with your kids that really fill in that to whatever you felt perhaps was lacking in your own childhood, that you're filling in that void with your kids to make sure they would never feel maybe something that was some sort of negative feelings that maybe you had in the past?
I tell you, it wasn't anything that was negative in my life. I had a perfect childhood. I had a mom and a dad that loved me to death. I had a dad that was a hockey star. I mean, we grew up with incredible childhood. I got a grandmother and a grandfather that loved me to death, that spoiled me rotten. You know, I had relatives, cousins, everybody living within a 3-block radius. Rode our bikes together and grew up together and were Cub Scouts together and played hockey together, played baseball together, soccer, every sport you could think of. 6th grade, I was a standout athlete. In the 4th grade, I played for my 6th grade basketball team. You know, but I didn't have that support from my mom and my dad because my dad was always traveling. He was a super stud, you know, a big athlete, and he was traveling on the road and he was always gone. So I never had my dad come to my games. I never had my dad, you know, show up to things because he had his own practices to go to. He had his own games, and he traveled, and he was always gone. And my mom had 4 other kids, so she was at home. So it's not anything that I was lacking. It's something that I didn't get. I didn't get because that's just the way it was. Not because they didn't want to give it to me. They would have gave it to me. Just there was no time to give it to me.
Right.
Being a single dad and having a job where I can have time to do with my kids, I do everything for them and I give everything to them and I'm behind them 100%. That's what I'm doing. I'm not doing something because I didn't think I got it as a kid. That's not true. I got it as a kid. But I just have an opportunity to give more attention to details, more attention to what my kids are about, what their feelings are about, what their goals are about, what their emotions are about. I mean, your child's emotion will kill you. If you don't listen to what your kid is telling you, if you don't watch what he's doing or who he hangs out with, the athleticism in him, if they're not as good as the other kids on the team, man, it just tears you up when you try to make it to where it's an even thing for them. I mean, the worst thing that I ever saw in my life that stuck with me in my heart, that hurts me the most, is when Brock and about 10 of his buddies were playing on the soccer field, and I coached the soccer team, and we were getting together to have a soccer match. And Trevor was with me, and at that time he was 7 years old. And Brock says, well, let's get teams and let's play a game while we're waiting for the field. So they go and they pick teams, okay? Well, they got 10 kids counting Trevor. They decide to count Trevor. These kids are 10 and 11, Trevor's 7.
Yeah.
So he's out there and he's a goalie on his soccer team. He went 4 years as a goalie with shutouts. Never a goal scored on him in 4 years. Trevor.
Right.
He's just an amazing goaltender. And he was the last one picked. And he cried. And we're walking to the other end where he's walking to the net and he's crying. And I go, what's the matter, Trevor? And he said, man, I was to pick the last one and my brother didn't even pick me. He goes, man, I thought my brother knows how good I am. He picked me. I go, yeah, I know, but those are his friends. And he's picking his friends over you. And that's, if it was the other way around, you would do the same thing. And I walked down with him and I says, you know how to prove them wrong? Is don't let them score on you. When they come down, they kick, you just play the best goalie you can be, because the first team to 5 wins, and then we scramble and we pick again, and I guarantee you'll be one of the first ones picked if they can't score on you. So he hunkered down, and they didn't score on him, and they ended up winning 5-0.
Right.
And he got all excited and was doing cartwheels and jumping up and down, and they went out to the middle of the field, and we picked new captains, and sure enough, first kid to get picked was Trevor.
Yeah.
But I had to go through that heartbreak and see him cry and him go through that rejection. And I'm telling you, as a father, when you see your kid get rejection, it tears you up. You don't ever want that to happen.
Right.
So that's why my involvement with my kids is to be there to give them support, to let them know that being rejected is okay, to being told that you're not so good is okay, because it just means you got to improve yourself and you got to work harder at becoming better.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at with my boys. I don't want any of them quitting or giving up on something because they don't think they're good enough. And that's where my support comes in with my kids. And that's why my time with my kids is so important. It's got nothing to do with anything that I didn't get when I was a child.
Right. Well, I mean, that's even better. That's even better when it's not that, because then, you know, you can put a lot more effort into it, and it's just not it's not just like something you feel you have to do. It's something you feel you want to do. It's a goal in your life, and that's really awesome. Now, Patrick, in the next 3 years, is there anything really important that you want to do yourself?
Yeah, I'd love to like travel the country with my kids. I'd like to get a big conversion van and load it up and hit the highway and just take like 3 weeks, maybe a month off, and just go and just take my kids all over. Go to Washington, D.C., go to New York, go to Chicago, go to the Grand Canyon, go to Disneyland in California, go to San Diego, go to the Bay, go to San Francisco, and then go to Lake Tahoe, and go to Custer's Last Stand and Mount Rushmore, and the Florida Everglades, stuff like that. Just take my kids on a whirlwind tour of the country, just do a big ass circle around the country.
Right.
Being from Alaska, I'd love to take them up to Alaska and let them see Alaska and see what true wilderness is all about. Take them up to Canada. I got family all over Canada. Go up through Canada and see relatives and stuff. And that's if I could do that with my kids and show them this country and what it all has to offer and what it's all about, and broaden their knowledge on things that are going on around them, I think that would help them with their education and with them taking in what the whole deal of life is about.
Right. Well, Pat, that's a huge feat to undertake, man, and I wish you all the luck in achieving that. And if there's any part of that I can help you with, man, I completely support you. Now, I got one final question for you, man. I need you to think of a story that involves you and me, something funny, perhaps. And if anything comes to mind, anything that has happened where both of us were involved, can you think of anything?
Man, you've been such a big part of my life for the last 3 years. We've done everything together. We've worked together. We've done artwork together. I've watched you build something from nothing. I've seen you create. I've seen you upset. I've seen you work your ass off. I've seen you lazy on your ass, do nothing. I've seen every aspect of, Mr. Clark Hosp, and I consider you a really good friend. And there's a lot of funny things that happen to us, and there's a lot of sad things that happen to us. And just to pick one out, man, it was just one big 3-year thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a conglomeration. They all kind of meld together, don't they?
Right. But we've had a lot of fun together. We've done a lot of stuff together. Yeah. I really enjoyed working with you. You always, you're a funny guy. You create happiness through your humor, and you go around and put smiles on a lot of people's faces, just like I do. And I think that's probably why we get along, is because we respect people for who and what they are, and we try to bring the best of them out when their worst is taken over.
Right.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But for the most part, I think we run about a 95%, success rate.
Yeah, I think
so. As far
so.
as getting people happy and getting them, look, even after we're gone and we've left people, they still contact us.
Well, yeah.
They still want to hang out with us. They still want to do stuff with us. That's a compliment in itself. It's letting people letting us know that we did have life-altering changes with them, and and we respected them, and we were good friends with them. There's nothing out there that says anything bad that I've ever done to anybody, except for somebody who's just, pissed off at me for something that I probably didn't do. They just heard I did or whatever. But like I said, I'm just so over, people that use people, and that's the problem that I have. Is my luck, my draw is, with women, they use me. With work, they use me. Everything that I do, they use me, except for my kids. I won't let anybody use them.
Yeah.
Kind of put my foot down on that one.
Well, that's a good way to be. Just don't let maybe some faults that you see in yourself, make sure they aren't transferred to your kids. It's a great plan.
Well, my only fault in my whole life, my only fault is that I can't be a dick. I can't be a dick. I can't screw somebody. I can't fire somebody. I can't I can't treat somebody. I treat people like I want to be treated, and I mean I know it's the golden rule: do it to others as they do unto you. But I mean that's not even it. The fact of the matter is if you're going to be somebody and you want people to respect you, you got to respect them, and you can't treat them like shit. You can't badmouth them. You can't two-face them. You can't do shit behind their back, and I just can't do that. I mean I'll talk about people behind their back. But, you know, I'll face up to it. If they call me on it, I'll say, oh, yeah, that's what you did. You know what I mean? But I'll do it that way. I can't walk up to somebody and be a dick to them right back. I just got to, you know, that makes me them, you know?
Yeah.
I just let it go. And I don't know why everybody says that I've got something about my personality that does that. Is that, how can I stay so calm? How do I let people walk all over me and get away with it? But they're not getting away with it. They lost me as a friend, and I won't do anything for them anymore.
Right.
And I just fade away from them. And they always come back around. They always come back because they realize, you know, at one time or another, you did something for them, or you cared for them, or you gave them respect, and they've lost that, and they try to find it back, and you just don't give it back to them.
Yeah. Well, that's words to live by, you know. Well, Pat, it's been a wonderful interview. I'm glad I was able to take a few minutes from your life and capture it here on this tape, and hopefully, maybe some decades in the future, I'll send this guy back to you, and you can laugh at yourself, or it'll be fine. Well, man, it's been really good. And in closing, I need you to do one thing for me.
Sure.
I need you to give me the international sign of go to hell, and you do it with your hand.
With my hand?
If you can remember how to do that from your youth.
International sign of go to hell?
With your hand. There you go, buddy. This is Clark signing off with another episode of Interview with a Friend. Thanks a lot, man. Bye.